Hi, I'm Maya Trainer. I'm one of the guides here at America, and we welcome our audience joining us online. We truly hope that you are doing well and staying safe amidst this outbreak. Well, anyway, for those of you who are first timers here, hi, welcome to America TV for the first time. America is the US Embassy's American Center, and our mission is to provide a space for young generations of Indonesia to learn more about the United States. We have temporarily moved to a solely digital platform so you can enjoy our program from the comfort of your own home and have fun the curve of COVID-19. Don't forget to leave your questions in the comment box below, and our panelists will answer them later in the seminar. And for our friends here who are joining us through Zoom, there are a couple of features that you can use to actively participate in the seminar. You can use the raise hand section to ask your questions with your video on, or you can also use the chat box section whenever you wanted to say hi to the other participant and also the panelist as well. Please keep in mind to use these features wisely, all right? Cool. Now today we will be having a session titled U.LabX 2021. A friendly reminder for our question of the day is it true or false that Otto Scharmer developed Theory U in 2009 when he was working as a lecturer in MIT? I will repeat the question one more time. Listen carefully. Is it true or false that Otto Scharmer developed Theory U in 2009 when he was working as a lecturer in MIT? You can participate this quiz through our social media comment section and stay tuned until the end of this event to find out if you get the answers right. And now, without further ado, please welcome one of our facilitator for today, Mbak Paramita Indriani, Learning Facilitator, United in Diversity Foundation.
All right. Thank you so much, Maya. Power wish to you. 1, 2, 3. Whoosh. So thank you and welcome back again, everyone, to U.LabX. My name is Mita. I'm from United in Diversity. So just let me share a bit of my here. All right, there you go. So for those of you who have joined our previous sessions before, welcome back. And for those of you who just joined now, hey, welcome, and it's nice to meet you. This is already our 5th week of our 6-week MOOC program of the U.LabX. So U.LabX itself is a massive open online course to engage and also understand more about the social awareness and social transformation that is based on us understanding more about ourselves and our system based on the Theory U process that is introduced by Otto Scharmer. I'm not gonna share where he developed and in which year because I'll spoiler the quiz from before. So thank you so much for those of you who had joined today. It's so happy to be with everyone, even though that we are connected all online, especially right now for those of you, especially in Indonesia, that now we're facing another spike of the COVID case. I hope everyone who's joining today are in good shape and in well health and in a very calm state for us to join and learn more about ourselves and our systems today. So I'm also gonna, oh, there you go. These are the faces of our co-facilitators who are joining today's session. So not everyone is here today. I think we have Shinta, Akya, Smara, Lynn, Inasha, Ari, Faisal, Mega, Fajar, Sasi, Igor, Ngaba, and Jara, who are going to be supporting today's session. And also we have Shobi here already joining back. Hi. Hope all is well with you and your family as well. And to be connected with everyone for this course today, you can also tune into the other social media and bringing your voices in, either in any of these channels that are on your screen, Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. And also you can use these hashtags to be connected with the global audience. So the hashtag U.Lab is the one that is used for the global MOOC that is established by the Presenting Institute and MIT. Oops. There you go. Spoiler alert. And also our main hashtag for this course is the hashtag U.LabX. So do bring in your voice, use the hashtag so we can gather and listen to all of your reflections or questions that are coming into the other channels. Also, for this whole course, we're going to use something that we call the Mentimeter. So, other than the channels, you can put in your questions and your reflections. So, throughout the sessions today, we will encourage you to put in your voices using the Mentimeter. It's www.menti.com, and you can put in the codes 827901 and 02. So later on, we'll prompt a couple of reflective questions along the session where you can open the Menti and jot in your answers right there. So stay tuned and look out for the Menti alert when we're asking the questions. But to start everything off, especially for the session today, as usual, we want to invite you to recenter yourself with a moment of mindfulness, especially in Indonesia. And I think also in a lot of other countries, we're having this spike of the COVID cases, and it's more unpredictable than what we were facing before. And sometimes our headspace aren't in the right moments because all of the surge of new information, whether be it good or bad, it's just keep coming. And sometimes we may not feel losing our ground due to this overwhelming news and very anxiety inducing situation that we're in today. So I hope everyone is still safe and well wherever you're at, and to help you start grounding, hopefully to ease how our state of mind in facing the challenges in front of us today, and even for our journey forward. I want to invite you to have a couple of minutes and with a moment of mindfulness. So if you are seated in your chair, you can put your leg down and be grounded with your floor below, and sit straight. Just should be like to remind us, if you have like a rope in on top of your head, pull it up and straighten your back. And if you're comfortable closing your eyes, you can start with your eyes closed and take a deep breath, inhaling in, exhaling out. Be mindful and notice the breath coming in and out. For now, focus your attention to your breath. Observe how the breath is when you're inhaling and exhale. Notice what your body is trying to tell you, starting with focusing your attention from the top of your head. Notice what feelings and how do you feel, what emerges when you focus your attention. Going down to your neck and your shoulders. You can release the tension and let it go. Going down to your chest and your back. Release the knots, your breath. Going down to your stomach and your lower back. Observe what feelings arise, going down to your legs, and finally to your foot that keeps us grounded, that connects us to the earth. We're all here right now, connected together here in this space, in this silence. Enjoy your focus of attention back to your breath. You can notice and observe what feelings arise, and just simply noticing it. You don't have to be distracted by it, just giving it proper amount of attention. Just notice it. If there are any other thoughts or sounds from outside, just simply notice, let it go, and recenter back your attention to the present, right here, where you can listen in to your breath. We're all here together, connected by this very positive energy to bring change, both for ourselves and for our systems. Bring your intention and prayer to the universe. Let it listen and let it guide and support you to your journey. And if you're ready, you can come back to our space here together. You can open your eyes and welcome back. I hope all of our prayers and also sending our best attention and prayers to every one of you, and also for those of you even who are not joining today because you have more priorities, especially maybe for your family and your loved ones that are facing in this crisis that we're in right now. We hope everyone would be safe and everything would get hopefully would get better along the course of time, so we can all be together here and be supported through our journeys forward. So thank you very much for being here and be present in this moment together. Um, I think moving along with today's session, I hope for those of you joining in, you can still bring the positive energy with us together. But if not, if any at the time and the moment you feel there's something more that is more important for you to take care of due to the situation right now, that is perfectly fine, because everything here is actually recorded. So later on, you can look back in any parts of the session. In any case, you need to step off because of other priorities. So just to start things again, as usual, we want a review of the things we've learned the past weeks, starting with the grounding materials that our of the theory U journey is regarding the three divides. This is the common challenges we see today. Is the tip of the iceberg that we see the divides regarding the ecological, the nature, the disconnect between us and nature, the social divide, which is this disconnect between us and others, and the spiritual divide, which is the disconnect between us and our best potential self. These are the what is it? The fruit of all of us doing things business as usual, us not being really paying into intention the things we do every day, and collectively creates the results nobody wants, which is the numbers as we see right here on your screen. So what we want to invite in with the theory process is going beyond what we see on top of the iceberg and going deep, really beyond our past patterns, and in observing what is actually happening in the field. And we retreat and reflect that into ourselves to truly listen to what is it that I am called to do, and what is it that the universe needs for me to do. We have practiced this also last week using the guided journaling session. And spoiler for today, we're going to dive also into how we can act that very uh, the emerging needs that is coming from the session before with prototyping. We've also learned about the four levels of listening, where our invitation here is to truly understand in which level we're operating from, to be more mindful of how actually we have truly listened to the people around us, and using the open mind, open heart, and open will to truly understand how do I listen, and what are the stories that these people are telling me. We've also invited for you to understand what is underneath the things that we see using the iceberg model. We'll see this later on today using the with the prototyping journey. And also, we've invited you to truly understand that at the systems that we're seeing that's underlying, there's the social field, which is the levels of connection of the people that are interacting in that system. And the invitation is also for from this is to understand in which level that they're operating from. Are they just debating? We're just uh, deferring opinions, or are we already trying to move to a greater future that we hope for using the collective creativity level? So the invitation is for you to understand in which level is the system that we're in are operating from which level. And last week, we have gone through the guided journaling process using the stepping into the field of future, where we are invited to see our best potential future self, our self with a capital S, and having that connection between us in the now and that best potential self, and how to maintain that connection to truly understand what it is that's life calling me for, and what it is that's the universe is trying to tell me. So we invited you to write a self letter last week, and also doing the empathy walk at home to truly ground and be connected again with what it is that I'm trying to serve in this world. So if you missed all of our past weeks sessions, you can check out the our the YCLE and the At America channels in Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, or Twitter. All of the sessions before are recorded, and you can check them out. So, without further ado, what we want to invite you today is to be connected again with our session from last week. Um, I think a lot of us has met our best potential future self. I think um, it's. I feel like it's a rare occasion for us to be truly connected with that self with a capital S, right? So, since we have met them and we have gone through the guided journaling process to truly understand what it is that's life's calling me to do, um, I think I want to invite to you to share your reflections on about your new awareness that emerged from you for the last week session, and also if you already wrote a self to self letter exercise. Oh, sorry, missing one here. Self to self letter exercise, and also the empathy walk at home exercise. What new awareness that emerged to you? So for those of you joining through any of the social media channels, you can jot in your reflections in the comment section. And also for those of you, you can joining in other channels, you can put in your answers in Mentimeter. It's again menti.com and put in the codes 82790102. For those of you joining in the Zoom, Akias, if our participants are ready, we can put them into the breakout rooms. All right. Right. The breakout rooms are open. So for those of you joining in Zoom, you can join to the breakout rooms. And we will notice you in, I think, in 10 minutes. We will put up the alarm. Hope everyone would have the opportunity to share their reflections from the past week. Okay, I think a lot of you are already coming into the breakouts. And let me just stop share here for a sec. All right. So for those of you joining through the social media channels, you can jot in your answers in the comment page or put in your answers in Mentimeter. So I think a lot of you are still reflecting. So while we wait, Shubi, do you have anything to add regarding our past sessions? While we wait for some of our online participants to jot in their reflections.
Well, maybe this is a bit of a preview for this week's materials, but uh, it oftentimes feels like when you go through the eye of the needle at the bottom of the U, it's as if you underwent something profound and very deep, and then nothing happens, right? So this week is all about staying connected with that feeling, staying connected with that resonance. So if you feel like, oh my God, I feel something very powerful, and then nothing happens on the outside, don't worry about it. That's 99 out of 100 times. That's exactly what usually happens with these changes. So and what to do about that feeling is something that we'll cover in today's lessons. So, in the meantime, we hope, as always, you did your three P's: the practice, practice, practice at home, either by writing your self letter or doing your empathy walk with those that are closest to you this time. I think that's the difference between the empathy walk that we introduced at the very beginning of the course, because at the end of the day, these people matter, right? Those that are immediately closest to us. So please do bring in anything that you learned, any new insights, any feedback that you might be feeling to us so that we can share with the other learners along the journey.
All right. Thank you. So I'll put up the, I think some Mentimeter participants are already jotting their answers in. Mara, while I put up the screen, Mara, do you want to highlight some of these reflections?
Right. Okay. So we have several in Mentimeters, and then so one saying sometimes we need to forgive and let go. I love myself more. Just enjoy the present, feel the moment. Roadblocks will always come and go, but what's important is we use that as our building blocks to become a better version of ourselves. I really love this one. And then we can construct our beautiful future by changing the things that we don't want, and changing bad habits and behavior. And then the last one, my new consciousness is my future self, which is in line with my existing self and aim. One just recently came in. I felt like I'm powerful now. And then can I also bring some from the other social media? We have
Sure
one
thing.
here recently coming from Facebook. Juanita Malpangtenengtakul. I hope I'm reading your name correctly. I think I should thank myself a lot from doing self to self letter. That's a beautiful one. So yes, that's the one that we've been receiving so far in our social media. I think everyone is just so positive. Their response is very, very nice, right, Mita?
No. So, what are your experience though, Maral? On you've also gone through the journey before with the guided journaling process and going deep into the core of the theory process itself, the presencing phase. So, how do you? What are your experience yourself on going through that process?
Right. You know, I did thought that you might ask me this question. I wrote an answer. Yeah, I think I did this twice, I think, right? And the first one I remember. So generally, I think every time after we finish this exercise, for about a week, my mind would continue like thinking about the one process when I was doing the answering the questions. And I keep on I think we realize now that it's okay to cry. It's better to let things out. And by actually doing that, technically you are accepting things. You begin to accept. And I think it's really important to be able to move forward, to become better when you start accepting. And I remember crying a lot when I was doing that. I was like literally crying. And the feeling that I get is that it's always good to spend more time with yourself. It's always nice and important to go back and do a self-check. And I think the experience in writing, answering the questions, writing that letter always does that to me. Sorry.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing. Power wish to you, Maral. 1, 2, 3. Whoosh. Do we have Lynn joining here, or is she at the breakout? I think.
She's in
at the breakout.
Oh, she's at the breakout. All right, all right. So, Shobi, but do you have any what is it, tips or golden nuggets for us here, especially? I think a lot of our friends, it's mostly the ones that are impacted by the surge of the COVID cases again, are meeting themselves, trying to change something, trying to do something, but now that they're faced with this challenge in front of them. Oh, do you have any insights to share with us on that?
I think, in fact, perhaps the gift of COVID, one of the gifts of COVID is that it really helps, it really pushes us to be grounded in the present moment, right? We all have this dream and aspirations of what the future should look like. And I think COVID really reminds us, at least me personally, every morning when I wake up, I'm glad to have another day. And every single breath that I have is a gift. And it just, it's so easy to get so burnt out and stressed out over, worrying about this and that. I was just there yesterday. And but then it's okay. It gives me the tool, and the discipline to just bring myself back in the present moment. And instead of burning out or repressing these feelings, I just investigated, what am I worried about, what's draining my energy, and then just be reminded of if the lesson of today is that I survived, then congratulations, so be it, right? And I think that's a gift that we can give to ourselves. But at the same time, knowing, I think the beauty also of the self to self, understanding that there are two sides to our existence, remembering that our tomorrow self doesn't have to be our today self. Our tomorrow isn't the same as our today. That also gives the strength to, well, things could be different tomorrow. And so, yeah, for everyone, it seems like from what I'm reading, from what you're bringing in your voice, it seems like you're connecting, making that right connection with your highest future potential self. And I guess my advice, if I be maybe so uh unsolicited, but just stay with it, right? If that's one thing that you take away from this experience, is knowing that any given time you are not just who you are right now from the product of your past, but you are also who you could be tomorrow. That's also you. And maintaining that connection between the you now and yourself now and your highest future potential self, is a very powerful thing that could help you unlock that potential.
Ah, my favorite Buddha. thank you, thank you so much, Shobi, for that very kind reminder. I think a lot of us really need that right now. And yes, we'll have the Zoom participants coming in shortly. So, but Power Whoosh also, thank you, Shobi, for the very good reminder. 1, 2, 3, whoosh. And also Power Whoosh to you, everyone joining through the social media channels. 1, 2, 3.
And Mara,
Whoosh.
one, two,
And
three,
Maral.
whoosh.
1, 2, 3, whoosh. All right, so we're closing up the breakout rooms. Think we'll have them. All right, there you go. We'll have them in a couple of seconds. But while we wait for them, so Maral, do we have any other interesting reflections from social media or Mentimeter?
Yes,
Mhm.
I do. We have more in Mentimeters, but I would like to read some. This is from Facebook. We
Mhm.
have Hai Nguyen. My 5-year self-to-self letter revitalized my dream. My inspiration too much when my inspiration too much when I read it recently when I lose my mood. That's very nice. Maybe I should
Oh,
do that too. And then there's another one. This is from Sui Jack Chum Tong. I apologize if I read your name wrong. I think self to self letter helped me a lot to know more about myself, my mindset. It make me improve and develop my skill as well. It is good to me from doing a self to self letter. And then we also have more. This is from Mentimeter. We have a lot, so let me choose several. I came to realize that it was a good course to manage yourself. Self-to-self letter reflects me how I can control my time for my life. And then I sense and realize that I see the future potential and trait of myself on my journey of making my new self prototype. They may avoid suffering, but they cannot change their lives. Only a person whose risks are free. And then the last one, there's this one. I realize that there's so much potential for an individual to maximize his skill, and it's not usual to talk to yourself every day and tell yourself that you can make an impact if you direct your lifestyle towards a more clear goal. I think that's a really nice one.
oh, thank you so much for the
Well,
reflections.
Sounds like our breakout groups are also full of positive conversations, Meet.
Oh yeah, I
Shall we
think a
bring
lot
in
of
their
them.
voice?
Yes, I think a lot of them are protesting because they have very little time. Sorry, guys. It's
Yeah.
always short. But yes, anyone who wants to share, please share with us in the chat. Let us know so we can help unmute. Oh, there you go. We have Prasetyo here raising his hand. Okay, we'll unmute. All right, there you go.
Thank you very much. I'm Prasetyo from Indonesia. I would like to share about what uh, I got from the last session and the exercise. Uh, One thing that I get is my future self sees me as someone who concerned about many things with his life, well, what happened with around him, uh, and I I think I got something that one thing that I must put attention to is I must not concern too much. I must not uh, afraid too much about what happened in the future. So I can get my best potential and step in the right direction to the future. That's it.
Hi. Thank you so much, Prasetyo. Power wish to you. 1, 2, 3. Whoosh. Wishing you can still maintain that connection with your best potential selves. And we have one more. It's Queet from Myanmar. Let me help to unmute. Oh, Queet, sorry, can we have your camera on so we can see you?
And after Mr. Queet, there's Bianca from the Philippines
All
also want to
right.
share.
Okay. Oop,
Go ahead, Mr. Queet.
think we. All right. Or if it's not possible for you to turn on camera, that's also okay.
He's unmuted.
Yeah.
Yeah, please do.
Hello.
Maybe we
Oh,
go to
yeah.
Bianca first.
Yeah. All right, Bianca, we'll unmute you.
Hello, everyone.
All right.
Yes, it's not every day that we get to see or experience a chance between our current self and our future self. And I think that it's a matter of giving yourself a chance to develop your skills over time and crystallizing your goals towards a certain um, towards making an impact to the people around you and to the people you work with. And in terms of writing a letter to myself, I realized that I have more potential and I have to give out my 101% or even more for me to be able to get to that certain check in time that I will be so proud of myself and I will experience the impact or even like having this legend, like you're a legend in terms of doing this stuff. So that's it. It's not every day that we have that chance to talk to our current self and being transferred to our future self. So it's a great experience for me. Thank you.
Thank you so much for going through that process with us, Bianca. So happy for you to finally meet that best potential future, and also hopefully you can maintain that connection with that and be more inspired to go on further with our journey. So thank you
Mhm.
very much. Power wish to you. 1, 2, 3, whoosh. We have so Queen, if you have troubles of connecting, you can also share with at the chat box. We have one more. We have Teen from Vietnam, and after that, I'm sorry for the others. I think we need to move on with the next session. So, but we'll have Teen here first. We'll unmute you.
Um, Greeting everyone. This is King
Hello.
again. Okay. Um, as okay, as you can see that I think I will share you about the empathy, both the empathy works and also the writing to myself. I very quick. Yes, it is a pretty magnificent challenge. It's a pretty magnificent challenge for me because not everyone has just to look back at us at the primary level and to see what we really want so that we can and see if our work in the future will pay off. So I think and when I look at my future, I can see my success. I can see that I have achieved what I really really want, and then I feel that, oh, I'm so energetic and I will continue my work. Actually, this empathic works I used to apply it during my seventh grade when I read the book of "I Am Gifted, So You Are" of Adam Koo. But only now I can understand myself at a deeper level. And is also the basic for me to write the letter to myself when I realized that there will be a lot of struggles, a lot of combats, a lot of obstacles that I will have to overcome. But in the end, only me who can overcome everything. This is not, yes, and I will have to, the first obstacle is that I have to narrow down what I really want to do. And the second obstacle is that sometimes things will not be like what I really want. And after on, I will have to overcome so that it is not only to achieve something I really want, but it is to set an example. Yes, I used to tackle this thing, so why can't I overcome that thing? Yes. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much for the sharing. A power whoosh to you. 1, 2, 3. Whoosh.
Whoosh.
Um, I think there's so many. I mean, I was actually a bit, I was actually worried that because of the situation that a lot of you might be discouraged after our session last week because all of the things that are happening outside. But it's so happy to hear that a lot of you are still maintaining that connection and still having that understanding of yourself better. Um, I think further along, how then to keep this energy going on and still maintain this connection to truly understand and bringing what it is that we want to see in this world. Shobi, do you want to share on how we can stay with that feelings and go moving forward? Right.
Uh, yes, I'm on my phone now, so hopefully this is
Yep.
stable enough. Can you hear me okay?
Well, a bit
That's a no.
choppy.
Let's
No.
try this. Is this better?
There you go.
Oh
Yeah. All right.
no. Okay.
Okay. This is way better. Yes.
All right. Would you
Yeah.
help me share the screen, please? So, if you recall, the three big movements of the U, on the left-hand side, there's observe, observe, observe. And on the bottom, there's retreat and reflect. And that's what we did, last week, taking a step back to examine our lives at a very broad view and deepening our understanding of our own inner knowing. On the right hand side is act in an instant, right? So if you look at it at that view, at that scale, it almost looks as if once you find yourself, you do something. But oftentimes, as you probably noticed from your time between last week and today, you're probably noticing that actually not much happens on the outside, right? Even though inside you just probably experienced a major shift of how you sense and see yourself or your future. So if you double click on the U process at a more detailed level of the steps, actually we're at step number 4 right now. It's in the co-creation. Last week we were co-inspiring, finding inspiration together. And so this week we'll focus on how to take that new found awareness into action. As I said, the next meet. As I said, oftentimes nothing happens outwardly. Outwardly, right? You experience this major shift in your sense of self and your sense of who you are and what you should be doing with your life. At the same time, very little in our outside world changes, and so the art here on how to keep that momentum alive is staying with and keeping that resonance, that connection with your source. And this is why, or this is where the two practices that we asked you to write or do last week really comes into play, because by mulling over these questions and understanding your place through empathy walk, through writing your self to self letter, it really helps you maintain that connection with what you just found, the resonance of what you experienced in last week's exercise, uh, stepping into the field of the future. If you haven't had a chance to do it, as always, there's no deadline. The handouts are always there, still available, and we strongly encourage you to give it a try to help clarify whatever you experienced, whatever you found from our exercise last week. So this week is about staying with. Um, so in the next slide, you'll see that actually there are ways you can maintain or sustain that connection. One, it's all about engaging in dialogues, right? What you did last week in stepping into the field of the future, you are engaging in a deep dialogue with yourself as you see yourself right now, but also engaging with a dialogue with your highest future potential self with the capital S, right? And that's also one of the dialogues that we ask you to keep maintaining in these weeks, this week and going forward, and as you apply theory you elsewhere in your work and in your life. Um, so how to do that? One is again, this is where mindfulness comes in really handy. It's the discipline of having that daily practice of stillness, not starting your day with a lot of noise. I'm sure if you know, if sometimes I'm guilty of that, right? You wake up and the first thing you do is you check your phone for all the noise that's coming, and it feels like you're just hit by tons of notifications, and that's all noise, right? So having the discipline to start your day with reflections and stillness helps you maintain at all times, every day, that connection with your highest calling, that connection with your highest future self. Some of you maybe take the morning time to start your day with a prayer. That could also be a good time to reconnect with what is it that life is calling you to do, right? Um, the second dialogue that we encourage you to do to maintain that connection with source is dialogue with your immediate circle. I think all of us have that small number of people that we are completely comfortable sharing everything with. That circle where you can be comfortable sharing your dreams, your aspirations, or the people that you are undergoing through this process with. People who understands your journey and shares the same intention and vision going forward for your community, for yourself, for your team. So maintain that connection with them, because it's through them and through conversations with them, it'll help you get better clarity. It'll help you crystallize. You saw the previous slide, there's that crystal, right? It'll help you crystallize. Maybe things still feel like they're floating around right now, still a bit nebulous, like you're in a cloud. But as you engage in these dialogues, with your trusted circle, with your team and the people going through the same process, it'll clarify bit by bit. Um, the last thing, the last dialogue, the last dialogue that we strongly encourage you to do is dialogue with the universe. What does that mean? Well, the universe presents itself in everything that you experience around you, right? And so, what this means, being always in dialogue with the universe, is about bringing that resonance, bringing that intention, bringing that clarity wherever you go, so that whomever you meet, new opportunities, new stakeholders, new friends, or maybe old friends with different approaches, same stakeholders with different approaches, being open to whatever feedback you get from them suddenly allows you to let the universe step in and help out in ways that maybe you would never have imagined or could not have engineered if you had the power. So in Bahasa Indonesia, we have the word for this. This is called mastakung, semesta mendukung. It's like the universe aligns because you carry that intention of a better self, better future, better systems. And somehow, when you bring yourself with this authenticity and openness with others as you engage, you find that they actually respond. People have resonance with the same vision that you have. And in ways great and small, help comes from places that you probably wouldn't have seen coming. I've seen this so many times, and sometimes I even say, like, I think the universe is listening. And sometimes the answer comes, like, maybe not tomorrow, maybe not right now, sometimes, but can be like 2 years later. You're like, oh, if I hadn't done that 2 years ago, this wouldn't have happened now. And so, yes, just by engaging in these three dialogues on an everyday basis helps you stay connected with that vision and intention and help you bring it to reality. So, to help you get there, this week in U.Lab, we want to help you with maybe a few further guiding questions, following through with what you wrote in your journal last week. So let's take a moment to grab your journal again, your journal book, and your writing utensils. And when you are ready, there's just some of this might feel like familiar questions from last week. It's okay. The idea is that we want to revisit them again and see if this past week, having that distance and as you engage in your empathy walk and carrying this newfound awareness, gives you a better clarity or better shape, better form, better structure to what you experienced last week. Okay. So let's start with question number 1. What is wanting to be born in my life and work right now? So if you look at the question, it's not about what I have to bring forward. It's about what is there, what is emerging around me. What is wanting to be born in my life and work right now? As usual, you don't need to think it, just ink it, just write it down, let it flow. Let the stream of consciousness reveal itself. You can revisit your notes from or your journal from last week, or you can also just reflect on this past week that you've had. Okay, try to wrap up in the next 10, 20, 30 seconds or so. All right, question number 2. Question number 2 asks about the future. It's not about a future that I want to force onto the world, but it's really asking ourselves, what is this future that is in need of me, in need of us stepping up and taking a role so that it can come into reality? So, question number 2, what future stands in need of me or of us to bring it into reality? Let's try to wrap in the next 10, 20, 30 seconds. All right, question number 3. Is asking you to stay with the unknown or lean into the unknown. Sometimes what draws our attention isn't necessarily a strong vision or passion, but maybe some questions. How might I? How might we? So, what are those questions? What do you not know that is drawing your attention? That's a good sign. If you're sitting with questions, that means you're mulling over something. So, what questions have energy for me right now in this moment as I sit and think about these previous 2 questions? All right, let's try to wrap up in the next 30 seconds or so. Question number 4 is asking you to investigate ways that you can clarify or evolve the questions. If you can think about what you might want to do moving forward, how might you clarify or evolve it? Meaning, who can you talk to that will give you more data points? Who can you visit? Who can you listen from that will help you clarify or evolve these questions? Thinking about a few more minutes, a couple more. We'll move on to the next question. Question number 5. Now we'll start thinking about who or the people around us. So the question is, who could help me the most bring this intention, my intention, into reality? Just write a few names. And moving on to question number 6. Now we're going to start thinking about, let's start small and then we'll start broadening the circle. So think about the people around you as though being, yourself in the center, and then who could be your core team, the people that you can really count on to take this journey with you. And then who's your core holding group? Let's go broader a little bit. Holding group means who could help you somewhat, are still relevant to the process, but they don't have to be your very core team. And lastly, the third part of this question is who could be your supporting network, meaning who might have the resources, who might have the network access, who could help you in the broader sense that could give you support. All right. Hopefully, Don't worry if you feel like you didn't have time to sit through these questions. That's the beauty of reflective questions. These are not questions to be answered once, like you're in a test right now, but just these are questions to sit around with, to take with you to the shower as you eat your breakfast. Always feel free to come back and revisit them and ask yourself these questions, and then eventually something will clarify, right? So, in the meantime, we would like to harvest through the same menti.com, Mentimeter link, anything that you would like to share with us. So, from these 6 guiding questions, was there any emerging insights that you found that sparked through this process? Let's just give ourselves a couple of minutes, perhaps, to start bringing in our voices. And then over to Maral, is it? Maral, do you have voices coming in yet?
We have some, not yet, from our social media. We're still waiting for our friends, but maybe from our men. Yeah. We are still waiting for the social media. Ashrabi, sorry.
All right, it's okay. Thank you. How's my connection right now? Is it okay?
Yep.
All right. Fingers crossed.
Mhm. I think there are a couple here in Mentimeter. I'll put the screen up, and Maro, maybe you can share.
Right. Yes, some are coming in from Mentimeters. We have one. So I know myself better than before. I know who is my supporting system. And another one, we can actually do it. We just need to do it. And then another one, maximize our supporting network to bring my intention into reality.
Oh,
All right. It sounds like people are finding or realizing that you're not alone. I think that's a very useful thing to remember, that even though you might feel like you're in this by yourself, that there are actually always people around us. The universe is a helpful place. There's through you, the network effect, people that you know coming in to bring support. And usually, good intentions will bring in good support. People resonate with that. So, all right. So, since somebody mentioned you just have to do it. Thank you, Faisal, for the reminder. Yes, our friends in Zoom, also please feel free to bring in your voice through Mentimeter or through the chat so that we can pick up on your sharing. But yes, so the idea, there's this bridge between presensing, crystallizing, and prototyping. And crystallizing is this kind of place in between, between going deep into yourself and then going back out into the world and doing something. Is sustaining that connection between us and the source, and between us and the universe, and us and the future. And so again, the theory is not linear, right? Right now our journey is linear. You know, you go from week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. But actually in real life, and I'm sure Maral and our alumni can attest to this, right? As you apply this into your challenge, you will be bounced around back and forth, right? You will meet new people, and you have to co-initiate with them. You'll be put into situations where you can sense something new, and then you have to go back deep into yourself. What does this mean for me? and how might I translate that into action. And so today is about walking that bridge between presencing and prototyping. So these questions, again, are for you to mull over, for you to sit with as you go about your day, bringing your intention around and bringing it to the world. Um, Never too late. They're always good questions to reflect on. But at the same time, it's also about doing, right? It's about taking that newfound awareness into action. So, and perhaps one thing that we want to share with you, it's very difficult to do something in the next 40 or 49 minutes that you're here with us, but at least what we can share with you is how prototyping, taking action in the sense of theory u differ from the projects that we typically know about. How is this different from just taking action? So if you read the book, you'll notice that Otto uses the word prototyping. I guess the opposite of it is mindless action, right? So you just do it, but you're not mindful about your action. You're just repeating the same old, or you're blind to your unintended consequences. You don't see the rest of the system, or actionless mind, right? You engage in um, a lot of mental and cognitive and brain exercises, but you don't do anything. So prototyping, in essence, is doing something, but because you're open to the help that the universe wants to give you, you're open to what the stakeholders see or want also out of this process. It's always constantly being evolved. It generates feedback. So you do something for the sole purpose of generating feedback from others that matter, to help you evolve your idea. Um, so in doing that, there are perhaps a few things that we want to remind you. Um, these are the 6 principles that I guess if we were to put a picture to it, it looks like this, right? It's the U with a pentagon in the middle. Um, One is that the action comes from a place of crystallized vision and intention. What does this matter? Because a lot of the times, again, actionless mind or mindless action, right? You can vision, you can do things from a place of downloading. You can spring into action from a place of where you were before you going through the eye of the needle, right? The old you, going from, you can do something from a place of same old, same old. So just be mindful that your intention is informed by the highest future possibility. It's informed by what is wanting to emerge around me. It's not, and not based on what is broken and needs fixing per se, right? Um, Number 2 is about forming a core team. I think we've brought this up perhaps 3 or 4 different times today, right? Don't go at it alone. Uh, find, be open to having people who are willing to help you go through the process. Yes, sometimes taking decisions as a committee takes a lot longer, but then you have friends, you have journey mates that can do things with you, think with you, and help provide a balancing power. Sometimes in my own core team, for example, I know that sometimes I'm full of pessimism. I'm full of, I'm so tired of this. I just want to give up. But then you have a core team that, when one is down, the other can pick them up, and the other way around. And you can always have that space to be honest with each other and say, when we're off track or when we're struggling with doubts, you always have that core team to go at it with you. Number 3, places and platform. Prototyping isn't just about, again, it's not about doing it yourself, but it's also about involving the community and the system where you want to see the change happen. So platforms can be as easy as a WhatsApp group, can be as let's check in every week so that we have a communication line that's open and authentic. So it's not just about social media platform. That's just the how, right? But the what and the why is creating places and platforms that can allow generative conversation and generative listening and collective learning to happen. Okay. Number 4, build a zero point 0.8 prototype. It's about letting things be unfinished. You might have heard the saying, don't let perfect be the enemy of good, right? Sometimes you wait to polish things to perfection, nothing gets done because things will never be perfect. But the idea is that you get it to a place just enough to get feedback from others. This could be a 2D sketch, something you draw on paper. This could be something that you put up on a flip chart. This could be bringing your story and intention to the stakeholders outside and telling them how you see it and then be open to their feedback. So it can be unfinished, it can be rough. It's okay. That's the idea as the zero point 0.8, when you take it out into the world, you bring it into reality, it generates feedback, and then you start evolving and co-evolving with the system, right? Number 5, again, is about listening to the universe, means being open to the many, many ways that others might be trying to help you. If you're not open, if we are not open, remember the sensing story of people going to places that offer so much learning, but because we're closed off, we think of feedback as criticism. We think of others as being, oh, that's not possible. Being listening to the universe means opening yourself up to what could be, seeing things for what they are, so that you can grow with it. You can grow with the opportunities that the universe provide in our way, and there's so many of them, right? So, and then the last one, the 6th, is that figure in the middle of integrating the head and the heart and the hand. So it's just not about knowing, but it's also about doing, and also bringing your full self, your feelings, your emotions, your spirituals, your values along the journey as you go through this process. So, additional points are, is a prototype a project? It can be, but it doesn't have to be, right? So when we think about projects, I think we tend to think about something that has a start date and an end date, right? Because we want to turn it in, we want to write a report about it, we want to show to our customers or our clients or our stakeholders, shareholders, our donors what has been done and what has been accomplished. But a prototype, I think, is a lot more open ended. It's more like, I want to see that future. There's a future that is in need of me doing something, and I want to get there. But and I'm going to start small by doing something with the people that matter to that intention. And then you just keep going with it along the way, see what comes through. Right. So it's a lot more diffuse, a lot more open than your typical project or homework. This is, I think, easier to do in the context of U.LabX because you're all on your own doing your own thing. But when we try to do this in the context of capacity building programs, and they're like, what do I have to turn in by graduation? So it's less about that, right? It's great if you can have something to show, but it's not about what do you have to show. It's about what can be done to get closer to that higher vision or intention, right? And so with these things in mind, don't worry if you don't remember all of them. Again, this is a journey of you'll get it as you do your practice and get these things more internalized as you do them. But we do want to guide you towards that process. So Mita will be taking you to revisit that idea or sparks or intention that you have, and at least in this context right now, maybe try to place it in a systemic view using the iceberg model. So what you want to see happen, what are some structural enabling processes, relationships, and what are some deeper mental models or sources that we need to be aware of. So Mita, over to you for guiding our U.LabX journey mates with
All
their
right.
questions.
Thank you so much, Shobi. So, as Shobi just shared, so we're revisiting this iceberg model again to map out how what is it that we're actually trying to tackle, per se. What are the things that we see, the visible behaviors that are as pictured in the model are the top of the iceberg that we want to create change. We want to see something happen, um, that is being shifted through the things that we see wants to be shifted. So we want to invite you to prepare your journal books again and your writing utensils, and to try to map out underneath the things that we want to see happen, what are the structures, what are the paradigms of thoughts, and the underlying source or the mental models of the people that are part of that system, um, that is creating the situation that is happening right now. So just to help you guide you through, uh, maybe if you already have something in mind of the changes, the things that you want to see, the prototype, the idea, the sparks that you have, you can put it up in the visible behaviors that you want to see changing, or the visible behaviors that you see right now that hasn't changed. And underneath that, you try to map out what are the systemic structures, what are the systems that are making this visible behavior keeps um, doing the things that it is that keeps happening over and over again. So um, think, just to give an example, maybe like the situation with if say the visible behaviors that are happening is me trying to uh, there's a waste management near my neighborhood. They're very bad, and maybe the structures that are happening that keeps this waste management issue happening over and over again, because there's no trash bin, there's no people who are managing this the waste of the people in my neighborhood. So that may be the structure that are underlying the visible behaviors. And also there are the paradigms of thoughts that are underlying those structures, such as maybe because the people around us may not see the waste management issue as a priority, and that may be because people don't see it as a priority, that there's no waste management system that are happening in my neighborhood, say, for example. And also underlying those paradigms of thoughts, underlying the thinking that are being backbone of those systems, are the source. What is that coming from? Why isn't people taking this management systems sorry, management waste management issue more seriously? It's maybe because the source of them not really connecting to the environment and truly understanding that the things we do is actually having an impact to the environment directly by us not having that waste management system. So maybe that's one of the sources. So that's an example to have, but for your prototypes you can try to map out what are the things that you're trying to the issues that you're trying to tackle with this prototype idea, and what is underneath that tip of the iceberg that makes the situation keep on happening. So by mapping all of those layers underneath the tip of the iceberg, hopefully it could sharpen your prototype idea to see in which levels is my effort would be sufficient to create change happen. So where, in which layers are we trying to intervene, and uh, in my place right now, where can I give an influence in any of these layers? So that's the invitation for you to map out your iceberg. I think I can give a couple of minutes for you to look at your prototype iceberg issues and see in which layers are you trying to give your influence in. I think also a friendly reminder that this iceberg model doesn't have to mirror exactly what is happening in your system right now, because as the name goes, the model is just a model. It may not be a perfect picture of the situation you're in, but it at least can help you to map out or understand the situation better regarding the issues in your systems. I think if we can wrap up a minute. So I moving along. If you aren't done with the iceberg model yet, it's perfectly fine. Maybe there's a lot of layers to open up and to unearth. And I think later on, maybe outside of this session, you can further um, correct or further add on your iceberg models as you go through your process and truly understand and have conversations with the people in your system. That's you can further evolve your iceberg model. But I think what we want to invite you again after this is to then unearth after you've seen what is underneath your tip of the iceberg and trying to pinpoint where is your prototype, in which layer of these things underlying the iceberg can your influence be put in. We want to invite you to have a reflective session. For those of you in Zoom, you're going to be in breakout room. So we want to invite you to share what immediate action do you plan to do to kickstart your prototype idea. Now that you have maybe after going through the prototype principles and also going through the iceberg, you may have a clear picture of what is it that you're trying to do with to start your journey, and who are the people that you know can support you through this prototype plan. So wait, for those of you joining online, you can put in your answers in Mentimeter. But for those of you in Zoom, you will be in breakout rooms um, uh, with also with the same time as before. Also, you have 10 minutes. And I will copy the question in chat. There you go. So you can have the conversations in your breakout room. So Akyas, if the breakout rooms are ready. All right, awesome. So enjoy. For the ones in Zoom, enjoy the conversation to share your prototype ideas and your feelings after going through the process with us. And for those of you joining in the other online platforms, you can share your reflections through the comment section and also Mentimeter. Let me just share the question again here. Oops. Do, do, do. Let me. So the trouble is, there you go. I have so many tabs open and forgot where I put them. There you go. Here's the question again for those of you joining online. So, what immediate action to do and to kickstart your prototype, and who are the people that you can connect to support your prototype idea with? So yes, back to Mentimeter and also other social media channels. So Maral, do we already have anyone jotting in their answers?
Oh, sorry, forgot to unmute. We have, well, not from, still checking from the other social media, but I think we have one here, several now coming in at Mentimeters. So to kickstart, establish a clear plan or proposal. In my case, an environment project, support system, the government, academia, like-minded individuals, and cause-oriented organizations. And then the next one, as someone from a local government, first I need to revisit the things that can support my prototype idea, such as past legislations, past activities, and project, as well as who supported it, present it to the stakeholders to engage them in my idea. Both are very nice and relating to the government. Yeah. I really like the
Awesome.
approach of the second one, how he or she stipulates to jot down past activities. So reflecting, right? Going to reflect and to go from there. I think that's really important as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much for those of you who are sharing. Power whoosh. 1, 2, 3. Whoosh. I think it's also helpful that now that we have gone through the U journey, the way we revisit our past patterns is also hopefully can be more reflective and more mindful as to truly understand what are the things from the past patterns that can be evolved and again to create a more profound change that you want to see right now. So let me just stop share here. And or Shobi, do you want to reflect on um, the two reflections from the Mentimeters? Because it's interesting. We rarely have somebody from the government, local government even,
Very exciting.
joining in. Yeah, I know.
I think the government is a very unique place to be making changes, right? Because you have a lot of authority, obviously, right? Through legislations, through regulations, you have a lot of power to influence something. At the same time, often we hear from people within the government because you never make a decision by yourself, right? You have to navigate the complexity of lawmaking, decision making, who signs what, and so on and so forth. So oftentimes we feel that we hear from our participants in the government like, oh, I am nothing. Yeah, I'm just a breadcrumb in the system. But actually, it's great. So I think it's super cool to hear that you're willing to you have a higher calling. It's doable. With the right support, and this is also why UID we always do things trisector. So it doesn't have to be just government working with government, but you could also be working with other dinas maybe or other agencies or with the NGOs or universities or businesses even that might be sharing the same intention and vision. So good luck. Very exciting. Anything else?
Do you have any other reflections from social media, Mara? Maybe Facebook or YouTube?
We're still looking for we're still waiting for our friends to give response.
All right.
I think the last these two sessions that we have, it's really that we have to reflect in, right? So maybe I'm very sure they're like reflecting in.
Yes, that's true. Maybe they're making an essay or short essay paragraph of the reflections. But yeah, it's totally fine. I think.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I do see a couple of questions coming up from previous. Should we address
Sure.
them?
Yes,
Yes, I can. Do you want me to read them, Kashobi?
Sure.
Yes. So we have one here. What is capacity building mentioned? Is it capability building? There's that one question. And there's some in regards to the clarifying, the crystallizing, but I think you already mentioned that before, right?
Okay. So I think actually personally I don't really make that strong of a distinction between capacity building and capability building. Maybe I should because I keep hearing it. People talk about it differently. But to me, at least in the context of UID programs, we consider our programs as leadership capacity building, right? And so what it just means is that, you know, with the program, it's just like a project, right? There's a start date where people start enrolling, just like U.Lab. There's a start date where you come in, and then there's an end date where you take your last session. Sometimes in other programs, we have like some time where participants have to do their own thing, and then we have a graduation where people showcase what they do. So I just meant that in those programs, typically, because of those hard dates of when the program starts and ends, people think about prototype not as an embodiment of a higher future, but just as something that they have to turn in at the end of the program, which is which helps, but that's not what it is. Um, so yeah, that was what I meant in terms of capacity building. And the second question was around crystallizing, right, Maral? Uh,
Yes.
Crystallizing vision just means, at least in my own experience, right? When you might have this vision that you saw, maybe it's that future that you saw behind the door, or maybe it's this like high ideals of what you want you think the future could be, right? But at the same time, bringing that vision into the now, or listening to, sometimes the answer is not clear, but you just have an inkling inside, you know, I think this is the right path to go. um it's quiet, it's subtle, uh, it's not very loud. And if you keep drowning it in things that you have to do or things that you must do, or noise from social media, noise from life, you don't give it space to grow, right? It's just like little seedlings, you know, like if you plant things, plant little seeds, it grows, it looks like as though there's nothing happening because everything is happening within the seed itself. And then it takes time for the shoots to break the ground, right? And even then, it's still like very tiny. It's so easy to overwater, underwater. So the idea of crystallizing is to really just give space for that little voice to find its shape, to find its form. For me, I often have that inclination that this is the right path to take, because I know it gets me closer to that future that I see, or that intention that I have. Um, and or you take that zero point 0.8. I think this is what it looks like. It's not super ready, it's kind of rough around the edges, but you want to clarify it, so you take it out in the open, and you listen to feedback from the universe or from others. So that's the act of crystallizing, just making things clearer, give yourself a bit more clarity. Okay, how are we doing?
all right. I think we can invite the breakout rooms participants back. So Akias, can we help? All right, there you go. So in 8 seconds, you'll be back. So thank you so much, Shobi, for sharing and answering our participants' questions online. Thank you for those of you who has asked as well. Power whoosh to all of you. 1, 2, 3, whoosh. And I think, all right. So our breakout rooms participants are welcome back with the power whoosh. So I hope that everyone had a time to share, and I probably think that it would still be not enough time for you to have the conversation in the breakout rooms, especially now that you're moving on to prototyping. There's more things to share, especially. So, but just to give it justice, so we want to invite who wants to share. Hey, we have Seed here from Philippines. Hello, Seed. Where let me help to unmute. Hey, nice to see you again. Hi, Siege.
Hi. Hi guys. I'm back and I have a new background. Anyway, uh, once again, it's a privilege for me to be invited in this session. I actually love the topic this time because it's about understanding yourself and asking other people to validate yourself, not necessarily validate in the sense that you have to please them or you have to be serious about what they will say about you. As I listen to this session, the only concern that I keep on asking myself is the iceberg model can be treated. I'm afraid that other people may treat the iceberg model as as Pandora's box. You know what I'm saying? Because once people have found out who you truly are, or the one you are not truly showing to your to the version of yourself that you are not showing to the people, the private life of yours, or the other side of yours that are not yet unveiled and you have started showing it to others, they may use that as your weakness and show that against you. That's why it's important for me, or I don't know if other people or other audience will agree with me, but it's important that you hold on to your core, meaning no matter what comes in your way, you have to stand on your belief, on your principle, on the idea that you actually represent. And the least person that you can trust and believe is yourself. And as to the question, if who will be the best group of people or the best core team that you will have, I think I have mentioned it during the breakout session. And for me, the most important group of people that you can trust and you can believe is your family. The family is your first line of defense. We should always remember that. And they are the one who actually know who you are, and they are the one who really understands you, and they are the one they will be the most convenient group of people that you can share your joys and pain. And if something's not going right, they will be there as your first line of defense, as I was said before. And people around you come and go, but family is permanent, and they will be with you no matter what. And in order, it's important that we we take a feedback from the people around us, because it's not only necessary that we understand ourselves, but it's also important that we understand other people, that it's important that we understand that other people understand us. Did I get it right? I think
Yes,
that's
I
it.
get that.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much, Siege. Power whoosh. One, two, three, whoosh. Indeed, sounds like a lot of insights are coming from these questions and these processes. Absolutely. Trust in yourself because, you know, I always believe this, the world is not ready for those people who really operate from their truest self, but also be open to those around you, right? Be open to the
Yes.
universe, and that's how you grow. All right. Thank you, Siege. I think maybe one more from Zoom before we go on to a social media or mentee. Other takers?
Anyone from Zoom?
I think our co-facilitators are like tearing their hair out. It's like, come on, you have such great stories. Share them.
Or maybe you can also share it in the chat box. We will try to round them up.
So
Um,
Bianca, if I may read your comments, just to bring it out to those watching at home, the first thing that comes to mind, Bianca from the Philippines, the first thing that comes to mind is baselining and prototyping of online processes. Is it properly cascaded? What are the time frame in terms of offering services? So that sounds like a great first step for prototyping and starting to co-evolve whatever ideas you have, and hope you have the right core team and support group to evolve this intention.
ooh, we haven't shared given the power wish to Siege. So a round of power wish to Siege and to Bianca as well for sharing. 1, 2, 3. Whoosh. Thank you.
All right. Maybe we go to the question bank.
Yes. I think there's one highlighted. So Maral, do we have any interesting questions now that we're rounding up the some of your questions? And also for those of you on Zoom, if you also have any other questions, you can share it in the chat. But we'll try to round up for the ones from social media first. Do we have any interesting questions?
Yes, I have one question. This is actually related as well to the process. I do have, what do we, this is from Kine Noita Irwantoro. I do have a question. What do we do when either the structure or paradigm or source is something that cannot be fixed? Example, someone is ill and the family is affected. So that's one. And do you want to answer that first and then we go to the next one, or should I? Kamita. Okay. So
Sorry. For example, the family is ill. Sorry, someone is ill and
someone is ill and the family is affected. So everyone is facing a similar situation, my understanding. So,
well, for one, I don't believe, not to invalidate how you see things, right? But I personally, I feel like nothing cannot be fixed, right? Okay, because things are always changing. Um, if there's one thing I know is that things always change, and change is an opportunity for moving things for the better. And even if it doesn't, and that's the I think that's where our mindfulness training comes in, right? Being grounded in the present moment, knowing that the present itself is always changing, and staying with that present moment, staying with that change, whatever comes, um, uh, is the gift. That's it. That's the gift. In fact, I think this is probably throwback to our week 1 or week 2 lessons, right? There are so many things outside of us that we do not have the power to change. Sometimes even changing ourselves is very, very difficult, right? So it's about sticking to the practice, knowing that it will take you to better outcomes, right? It's not doing things wanting to change things. It's doing things because you know that's the right thing to do. So I know, and I know it's very difficult to do. In fact, staying with discomfort is perhaps one of the um, a key things to develop as a leader, because so many things that you want to see change are not changing. So many things that you have to sit through are painful. As you face, as you surface truths, oftentimes they're inconvenient, they're uncomfortable. So so my I guess my advice to you is, I mean, if you feel that right now it can't be fixed, believe that it can. How to do it, I don't know. You may not know, but just do what you know is right, and will take you to that a better future. Sorry to hear about the family illness. Everyone is affected. If this is COVID, unfortunately, I think, or maybe fortunately, one of the gift of COVID is really to remind us that life is finite, right? And then if you survive through this, it's a gift. If you don't, it's a gift. I really think, aside from lessons about how we can do better as society to distribute vaccines, support for each other, but at the end of the day, to our each individual self, take it every day as it comes. And so I just wish you good 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 strength, good happiness, in meeting every day whatever life brings you and brings all of us through these difficult times. I mean, it's hard for me too.
Yes.
I'm not saying this as though it's easy. It's hard. I have to do it every day too. Like every moment, I have to remind myself. So
Thank you so much for the reminder. She'll be very heartwarming, especially in this very hard times that we are in. So, I mean, wishing everyone all great strength and wellness wherever you are. Um, do we? I think we have still time, but for one more question, and then we have a couple of reminders for our take-home invitation and reminder for the next week.
Right. We do
Mhm.
have a question here. This one is quite interesting. This is from a young music composer, in the name of Flemo, and his artist name. Now I'm still in grade 12 high school. How to apply Theory U to the creative industry in the field of music, in digital music production. Thank you, YC Lee.
thanks, Mara. That's a tough one because I actually don't, I know very little about the digital music production. Um, but I think perhaps if there's one thing that I can relate with, I know with the way I know how music or arts at least is being used in Theory U, is that art has a power to reach deep within ourselves that words or analytical text does not have, right? And that's why we use poems. That's why we use if you go to Presencing Institute, there's many scribing, there's visual ways to express how we see. So I think maybe my advice is maybe make your music true to your messaging. Make music a gift of healing for the community. I'm sure if the music industry is just like many other industries, then it's driven by um, very strongly capitalistic incentives, meaning it's all about producing more profit for those that own the capital. At the same time, I know that maybe there are other artists or others in the community that are fighting to change that. So maybe if you want to use Theory U, bring this intention of how to use everything that we have for the greater good, and find your kins. Find the people who share those dreams with you, and use your music for better for the betterment of the system. Sorry, that's about as generic as I could advice as I can give. But more power to you for sticking through with your music. Maybe we'll check it out. Check your music out. Let us know. Drop in the comment where can we find your music.
His name is Flemo.
Oh,
Kashobi, so you should just Google Flemo with double M.
Lemo. All right. We'll check Lemo's music out. Thank you so much for bringing that into light, Maral. Power wish to Lemo and also the one who asked before. Power wish to all of you. 1, 2, 3. Whoosh. So inspiring as always, Shobi. I always learn something new as well. So to bring along the invitation now is as Shobi always remind us, the learning mostly happens outside of this 2 hours that we are in together in the session, right? So as we always iterate, don't forget to do the 3 Ps: practice, practice, and lastly, practice. um, so what we want to invite you to go through this week is to again go through the stakeholders and doing the stakeholders interview process to truly understand the system that you're trying to make change in, trying to intervene in with your prototypes. But now you can focus it in the context of your prototype. Now you have to interview your stakeholders, but um, maybe the way to do this is sometimes when we talk to our stakeholders, yes, that's part of the stakeholders interview. But now that we've gone through the U journey, the invitation now is to bring yourself differently in this conversation. Try to listen, try to understand your levels of listening, try to operate with a more generative way of having this conversation, and also trying to answer the situation. So the most important questions from the stakeholders interview as right here is trying to understand what do my stakeholders want from me and why do they need, oh, what do they need me for. So it's more of how can you help your stakeholders in your influence and your power to support this initiative. So that's the first invitation for you to do outside of the session. And the second one is to go through a sensing journey. And again, in the context of your prototype. So, where are the places of most potential where you can learn to understand your system better or understand, say, the initiatives that might mirror your initiative, and you can learn more from that places. So, again, this invitation, I think, a great reminder for those of you, especially in areas that still has a high rate of COVID cases. Please do this safely. If it's already safe for you to go outside and meet people directly, you can do that. But if not, you can still also do this in an online setting. You can join Zoom meetings by being a fly on the wall and sense how the system is doing. And also, you can have the interview as well online, either using Zoom or any other social medias or chat apps that you'd like. So all of the guides are available in our main Google Drive. It's bit.ly slash U.LabX 2021 dash online. So this is two invitations before we will meet for the last session next week. Don't worry. This especially with the situation that is right now, maybe you can't do this in the next 1 week, and that's okay. Take your time, find the most comfortable place and time and space for you to do this. It's an invitation. You can even do this outside. Even when we finish the 6 weeks, you can still do this outside of the session as well. But please, at least try to do it if you the times and the situation already allows, because as Ruby said, the learning mostly happens when you're actually doing this. It's not just you realizing and taking notes of the points that you need to understand, but it's you realizing in your system, in your daily activities, where this moments arises. So that's the oh, and lastly, of course, having this mindfulness practice discipline to keep us grounded, especially in this very trying times, and also to keep you grounded again, to understand, back rooted again to your highest potential future self, and also the best potential self for the system that you're in. So, oh, we've already gone through the Q&A, and also friendly reminder. So for those of you joining Zoom and also the online platforms, please check in through the checkpoints, the type form using this link, bit.ly slash U.Lab-week 5. If you check in at least 4 out of the 6 session, you are eligible for an e-certificate. If you missed out on the sessions before, you can watch it in any of the social media channels of America and YCD. And all the materials, the presentation, the guidelines, even some of Otto's videos on YouTube are available in the main Google Drive here. And also, if you missed out on sharing your experience, or if you have any questions about the course or about the review, please email us at ulabx@uid.org.id. Oh, and also if you check out the Google Drive, there's also information for you to join in the global MOOC that is going to be initiated by MIT and Presencing Institute this September. So do check out the Google Drive. So that's it from us. Before we close up the session, I'm going to break it back to the team at
Oh,
America.
Myth, I want to remind next week we're bringing some prototype stories from
Oh, yeah.
past U.Lab participants. So stay tuned if you want to know what happens in these journeys. So yeah, we'll see you next week.
All right. Powers to everyone. 1, 2, 3. Whoosh. Thank you. And I'll give it back to the team at America. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much for all of our facilitators, co-facilitators, as well as the rest of participants today for joining. We had a very fun session today, so we're looking forward to be joined with you all in the future. Thank you very much. Now, the rest of you, please don't go anywhere because I have the name for the winner for our social media quiz today. Earlier in this event, I asked you guys, is it true or false that Odo Sharma developed Theory U in 2009 when he was working as a lecturer in MIT? And the correct answer is true. Professor Sharma is still at MIT. He's a senior lecturer at the MIT Sloan School of Management. And our lucky winner for today is Rastu Karima Rahmania Fauzi from YouTube. Congratulations. As I mentioned earlier in the beginning of this event, Ad America is having a very special activity and we're giving out a set of content creator package. And how do you participate? You can participate by expressing yourself through your social media content and use the hashtag #FreeToBeUs. And of course, don't forget to tag our social media account at AT America. For further information, you can visit atam.tv/freetobeus. Now, you may be wondering, how can I develop an awesome idea for a place like this? Easy. You can go to our website at www.atamerica.or.id, click create an event, and collaborate with us. All proposals coming to us will be reviewed, and your event might be featured here soon. And while you're on our website, don't forget to subscribe to our newsletters for weekly event updates sent straight to your inbox. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter at ATAmerica for event updates, fun content, and so much more. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. All right, everybody, I think that wraps up this episode. It has been really fun, but unfortunately, we have to say goodbye for now. Thank you so much for tuning in. Happy weekend.